Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, back to do another edition of Forgotten Fridays. Now, this is a segment where I pick a film that I've seen, that I own for my collection, that I don't feel gets the love it deserves. This is a special one for me, and I'll explain. The movie that I chose to watch is Private Parts. Now, I kind of wanted to do this as a surprise. You guys have been so great in supporting What's in the Bag, Jay, and I know that this got voted in my first three episodes. It didn't make the fourth one, unfortunately, and I kind of felt bad for the people who kept voting for it. So, and plus, I really wanted to watch it, so I watched it, and here are my thoughts. Private Parts is a 1972 film which runs approximately 86 minutes and is directed by Paul Bartel. Now, unfortunately, he passed away on May the 13th of 2000 at the age of 61, but he had quite a colorful career. Now, he directed Lust in the Dust, Eating Raoul, which is a favorite of mine, Cannonball, and Death Race 2000, which is also a favorite of mine. I like Cannonball as well. He was also an actor. He has a very bit part in this where he plays a derelict that comes out from behind a tree who is, I guess, urinating. I guess. Pretty sure. But this stars Anna Royman as Cheryl Stratton. Now, she had an uncredited role in Jaws, which was 3 years, I guess 3 years past this. Wow. Boy, Jaws is an old film. I feel old now. But she was an uncredited nurse in it, and I do recognize her. I do recognize her from that movie. And she also did a lot of television. Now, this also stars Lucille Benson, who unfortunately passed away on February the 17th, 1984, at the age of 69. Now, she did the film Duel, which is Steven Spielberg's first movie, I believe. It was a television movie, which I absolutely love. And she is most known, to me anyway, because I recognized her right away, for playing Mrs. Elrod in Halloween 2. Yeah, the naggy wife. But she was very good at it, let me tell you. But like I said, unfortunately, she passed away. Now, this also stars John, let's see if I can pronounce this one, Ventantonio as George. The only thing I saw that he did some TV, that was about it. Now, this movie is going to be a bit hard to explain because it is nuts. It is so nuts, but so much fun. I'm going to definitely recommend this to everyone. I hope Warner Brothers someday releases a Blu-ray of this because it definitely deserves it. Now, this is, of course, about Cheryl Stratton, who comes from Ohio with her friend, and I don't recall if they said where they moved to, but it's basically on a beach. And they move into a house together after she steals some money from her parents. Now, her friend is quite mean. It's supposed to be her best friend, but she's not very nice. And she torments the girl, calls her a virgin, and, she's never been with a guy, and she can't get any action. She's just very mean to her. So Cheryl decides to move out and go down the street where her Aunt Martha owns the King Edward Hotel. And she gets a room. Now, when they came from Ohio, she knew that her aunt had owned the hotel, so I guess it was kind of on the back burner in her mind in case she ever had to leave or if she ever wanted to move. That's kind of what I gathered from the film. They don't really go into explanation, but it's kind of what I gathered. Now, in this hotel, there is a lot of colorful characters. A lot of colorful characters. And I'm not going to get into them because that's part of the fun in watching the film. It's just a nutty, wacky film that kind of comes off like a comedy sometimes, Kind of comes off like a mystery, but is definitely a disturbing horror film. Now, a couple interesting things about the film. Some newspapers refused to release this advertisement because of the title of the film, which, back in 72, I can see that. That's not really that surprising, I don't think. And the other thing is the King Edward Hotel still stands. It was bought in 2018 by a nonprofit organization, and the 150 rooms were turned into a transitional single occupancy housing, which I thought was pretty cool. I'm glad that they did that rather than tear it down and build something else that we don't need. So, yeah. Now, as far as a rating, like I said, I am so late to the party on this one. I was born in 71. This came out in 72, and I just watched it for the first time the other day. So, I'm really late to the party on this one, but I am so glad I watched it. Um, Another kind of little blurb or interesting thing. I had this on my DVR before my very good friend Eric from Last Venom 76 sent it to me. And I noticed I taped it off of Turner Classic Movies. Now, on the bottom here, I don't know if you guys can see it, it says Turner Entertainment. I guess they bought the rights to it, which is why why they had it on there. But this is a forgotten classic. It's a bit reminiscent of Psycho. That's about as much as I'm going to give away in the film. It is different, but it just has that very quirky, very weird, off-putting kind of vibe to it. But if you guys can get a hold of a copy of this, I'd say definitely go for it. One of the things I liked most about it is I'm going to call it the mostly 70s but 80s weird ending that I just love so much. They're endings that don't make a bit of sense for the most part, but they just make me feel warm and fuzzy. And I don't know why, but I just love them. Here's an example. And this is from the 80s. To All a Good Night. There is a crazy, weird ending of a girl dancing expressively on a balcony, as she's doing throughout the second half of the movie. It absolutely makes no sense, but it just was one of those type of endings where I think they needed something to kind of throw the audience off a little bit. And this kind of has one of those endings, so this movie is a lot of fun, guys. A lot of fun. Disturbing, weird, comical at times, but a lot of fun. And I've rambled on enough, but I wanted to do this for you guys since you were so faithful and, voted for this movie so many times. I felt bad that it didn't make it into my fourth week of What's in the Bag, Jay, so this is for you guys who voted for it. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.